All right, everybody, it's Monday nights. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. Sports Town's going live right now.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like before this game, he stinks!
Oh shit!
He's gone!
All right, everybody, it's August 8th, 2022. Sports Hounds live exclusively on a2dradio.com. Streaming on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, and Instagram. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download us wherever you get your podcast, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. We're brought to you by Aria Public Adjusting. There they are right there. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact Aria Public Adjusting at 813-564-3364. Tell them the Sports Hound sent you. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. We're also brought to you by All Campus down on the Ocean City Boardwalk, proud sponsor of the Ramp Booth. You get 20% off at All Campus, including shirts, hats, and all of our subscribers. Gets 20% off. Just become an A2D Insider. You get picks from the Money Pop Podcast and Willie Vegas. Willie Vegas Facebook some picks out earlier. I got the Reds and the Mets going right now. I got a couple DraftKings lineup, but if you want professional advice, there it is, $9.99 a month. You get appearances on shows, members only streams, shout outs, and weekly sports picks there. We're talking baseball, we're talking football. I know we had a big hockey trade. We'll touch on that. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brakeman. Frank Vesby will be in and out. But Brad, the Phillies are cooking, and they go down to Miami for big series. Miami's a team that kind of has this team's number. So our poll question tonight, the Phillies will continue their winning ways against the Miami Marlins.
Yes, agreed. The Marlins stink, so why wouldn't they? The Phillies finally got over it, so they finally got over the curse, and now we're doing what they should be doing to the Marlins. And the key for them now is that they're starting to spank the bad teams, and they're not letting these bad teams beat them and keep them down. And that's why they're starting to move up in the standings. In the past, too many bad losses to lousy teams. And the good teams beat the crap out of bad teams, and that's how you get into the playoffs. And they're finally doing it now.
Brad, I do think that the struggles against the Miami Marlins are going to be behind us. I thought Dave Dombrowski, a guy that I've preached my support for really since he took over, I think he gets it. I think he's a baseball guy, and I think he's going to build a winner here in Philadelphia. I thought he had a tremendous trade deadline. I gave it a B-. Just because you have the 25th system in the league, it's hard to make things happen. You're probably not going to get a Luis Castillo or a Frankie Montez, Orlando Carlos Rodon or Pablo Lopez. Guys didn't even get traded. So you're not going to land Juan Soto with the 25th farm system in baseball. So what Dave Dombrowski did is he quietly went around and got David Robertson, a spectacular signing.
That's a huge pickup for them. David Robertson has been this year looks like the old David Robertson when he was with the Yankees. I mean, he doesn't look like he's lost anything on his fastball. Listen, David Robertson, David Robertson is going to get in trouble every time he goes out there, and then he's going to get out of it. That's what he does. You may end up having to take a little Pepto-Bismol while he's pitching, but he's not going to give it. He won't give it up. He may walk a guy. He doesn't give it.
I love that Pete Thompson puts him right in there as closer, Brad. He's got the ninth inning. Sir Anthony Dominguez moves back a rung. He's the Swiss Army knife, multiple inning, high leverage guy. You have Knebel who's pitching well. You have Hand, who's pitching well. You have Brogdon, who's pitching well. And then you have guys, the Pepto-Bismol crew, like Olivardo and Bilotti. But, I mean, I feel like every bullpen in the major leagues has those types of guys. So, Brad, in essence, Dave Dombrowski was able to trade for Eduardo Sosa from the Cardinals, who's an excellent defender. He trades for David Robertson. He trades for Brandon Marsh. And he trades for Noah Syndergaard. And essentially, the only thing he gives up from his organization is Logan O'Hoppe, who's a top 100 prospect at catcher, where you already have a $20 million player and JT Realmuto. So Logan O'Hoppe's blocked. Why not get rid of him, try and get something? Am I the craziest, biggest Brandon Marsh fan? No, I don't. I think he looks like he's hitting with a log up there instead of a baseball bat. The guy can't hit. He can run and defend, but he can't hit. All right, but we need that. We need defense. Sosa's a great defender. I feel like Sosa, Brad, from the Cardinals is a Joe Blanton type winning baseball player that is a great guy to add into the mix. He's athletic and he can defend, and if he hits even a little bit, that's a great pickup. Thor looks washed, but now we're done with the Bailey Falter days. You know, teams like the Mets, teams like the Padres, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, they would never have a guy the caliber of Bailey Falter out there pitching in a pennant race. It would never happen. Those days are over. I know Syndergaard looks washed, but he's at least going to eat innings for you. 3 1/3 innings from a stinkhole pitcher that's not even a major league talent like Bailey Falter isn't going to cut it. You're not going to go to the playoffs with Bailey Falter starting every fifth day. And then let's look at the guys that aren't on this team anymore, guys who you just designated for assignment to make room for the guys you did trade. Because like I said, you really only gave up one minor league player. That's an asset in Logan O'Hoppe. You bring in 4 guys total. Janoris Familia, see you later. He stinks. Good riddance. Out of here. Odubel Herrera stinks. Good riddance. Not a winning baseball player. And Didi Gregorius, I know he's your boy from New York, and he was Joe Girardi's boy, and he's making a lot of money. But
he's done.
You know, 1 home run, 17 RBIs, I think he had.
Nah, he's
not
done.
a good defender anymore. So, you know, it's time to go. So you also add by subtracting.
Absolutely. Listen, Didi hasn't been doing the job for the last couple of years. It's time for him to go. Yeah, I didn't see the Yankees go pick him up, so what does that tell you? When he got designated.
I don't think anybody picked him up.
Didi's washed. He's you know what? He's had too many injuries. I mean, he's not that old, but he's had too many injuries, and clearly it's time for him to go. So, that's it for him.
Now you have Segura back. You have Segura back at second. You have Stott at shortstop. You have Bohm, who's not only fielding well, but he's found a home in the 3-hole. So you got him. He's not going anywhere. You got a little bit of a team now. And the players are responding. Players are absolutely responding to Pete Thompson, to Dave Dombrowski, to the team trying to get better.
Rob Thompson.
It looks like the Cardinals are on fire. Yeah, Pete Thompson's the Matchbox 20 guy.
Right, Rob. Same name as you.
Yeah.
Rob Thompson.
Pete Thompson. He plays a mean guitar, and he manages.
You want to call him?
No, his name's Rob Thompson, of course.
Okay.
We got comments flying in. We're going to get to all your comments, but all these moves indicate to me that the Phillies are 1,000% going to make the playoffs, and they are 1,000% going to sweep the Miami Marlins. These games are over with the Marlins. For the playoffs, you got to sweep the Marlins. Let's go.
Oh, absolutely.
We need Schwarber. We need Castellanos. We are 20 million guys to.
Castellanos started hitting this week. Lo and behold,
he's hitting a little bit. I would be interested to see what his stats are since the Jim Salisbury incident, because I bet you they're pretty good. And if that's what you need, a Kenny S like that to start pulling your weight, pulling your $20 million weight, then so be it. And I hope he does well. I think he's
whatever it takes.
Look, my displeasures over Nick Castellanos and the way he's played the baseball this year are well documented. But if he wants to get it together for this last month and a half and put the Phillies on his back and be in the playoffs until Harper gets back, dude, be my guest. Prove me wrong. I'm a diehard. I'm mad because I care so much. And if Nick Castellanos wants to snap out of whatever 4-month funk he was in, I'm all for it. Jake Friel's in the chat. What's up, boys? I agree with the poll. Young guys have come up big for us this year. Ryan Swoop. Amanda Stevenson, she has questions. Do you think Bryce? Yes, Bryce Harper is coming back. He'll be back in September. What do you think of the bullpen? Also, do you think the Phillies will go to the playoffs? The Phillies are 1,000%, Amanda, going to the playoffs. And I think the bullpen is good enough not to be an Achilles heel. We still got the Pepto-Bismol crew out there with Alvarado and Bellotti and some of them guys, but I trust Brogdon. I trust Robertson. I trust Sir Anthony. I trust Hand, and I trust Knable. Sort of Knable. I sort of trust him. He's shaky, though, too. We might have to put him in the Pepto-Bismol crew, too. But I 1,000% trust this lineup, and I trust this defense more. I don't think that this defense, albeit probably no Gold Glovers on this team, I don't think that the defense is going them out of the playoffs. I don't. Ryan Swoop not giving up pitching was awesome. Although I hated giving up Romero for a position player, I would have gotten Romero definitely, but it would have been for pitching. I never give pitching unless it's for pitching in return, no matter what. It's major league or minor league or top prospects. Can't give away pitching. Build your farm with pitching. Okay, we get you like pitching, but you got to get like the Phillies' top 2 prospects are pitchers in Painter and Mick Abel. They're both pitching really well for A-ball jersey short. So like, if you have a lot of pitching, sometimes you go get something that you need, like outfield help. So, like, I don't know. I'm not with you on being short-sighted and then limiting yourself and when it comes to trading. Yeah, trade for need. Trade for good players. Get rid of bad players. First and foremost, upgrade your major league roster, which is why I don't have a problem trading Logan O'Hoppe for Brandon Marsh.
Well, again, there's nowhere to put him.
They say they can fix him, Brad. Just like the Angels think they can fix Mickey Moniak.
Oh, Brandon Marsh, you mean?
What do you mean there's nowhere to put him? Yeah.
No, the Phillies had nowhere to put him.
The Phillies think they can fix him.
No, I'm talking about.
But who? Brandon Marsh is going to play center field every day.
No, I was talking about Ohio.
No, he's blocked by JT Realmuto. That's why I have no problem with the trade.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. There's nowhere to put Ohio. He doesn't have a position to play.
And honestly, Brad, based on the Phillies' track record with developing talent, whether it's Painter, Mick Abel, Hoppe, Shane Brown, who went in the Robertson trade, most of the time, Phillies prospects get to the major leagues and they stink. So I have absolutely no problem giving up prospects for proven talent, ever. I would have made Painter and Abel available. Get my hands on a Rodon or a Pablo Lopez or a Shane Bieber, something like that. I'm always in win now mode when I have a $230 million bill.
I know,
Always.
I know, and I don't disagree with you at all.
Mads 15-16, the way the Phillies are playing, trade Harper for pitching at the end of the season. That's asinine. I don't know if you're a troll or if that's not what they're going to do. That's not what they should do at all. Bryce Harper is the straw that stirs the drink here in Philadelphia. Not having him and the Phillies playing this well it's phenomenal, but it's unexpected. I thought they were going to be a 500 baseball team without Bryce Harper, if that. But, Reese is stepping up. Castellanos starting to hit. JT starting to hit. You got dead weight like Didi and Odubel Herrera out of here. So, this is awesome. I put one of my group chats today with my fantasy baseball league. There's a very good chance that it's the Phillies and the Mets in the NLCS. I know the Dodgers are really good, and the Padres got an all-star team, but boy, Brad, having Wheeler and Nola in a short series, you got a 3-game set and then a 5-game set in the next round. You really don't have to play 7 games until the championship series. Like, you can get there. If you can get yourself in, you can do damage with Wheeler and Nola at the top. And game 3 is Ranger Suarez.
He's okay. I mean, there aren't really the number 3s in the National League aren't overwhelming, so it could work. It can work. I thought you might get more out of Syndergaard changing leagues, but he just didn't. He didn't look very sharp at all against the Nationals. Now maybe he had too much time off. I think he didn't pitch for like 12 days before he pitched to the Phillies, so that's possible. I'd like to see him on a regular schedule. Noah
Syndergaard is what he is. Noah Syndergaard is a washed-up, injured pitcher. I mean, the Nationals got 11 hits off of him in 5.5 innings. 5 1/3, 5 2/3, whatever it was, the rain-shortened game. 11 hits in half a game against a team that's trying to lose. That's not good.
A team that's
I don't anticipate Noah Syndergaard helping this team.
Yeah, the Nationals are going to challenge.
He's not even going to be on the playoff roster.
Well, not if he pitches like that.
They're horrible. And Noah Syndergaard is going to help this baseball team get to the playoffs. But once this team does get to the playoffs, which I think is a mortal lock, I think they're a really good baseball team. I think they improved a lot. I think they're going to the playoffs. I don't think Noah Syndergaard is going to even be on the roster. You carry extra relievers. I mean, Noah Syndergaard, from what I saw in his first game, has nothing left. But he's still a monster upgrade over Bailey Falter.
Well, you got to look at it
Bailey Falter. He's only going to go 3 innings, and then your bullpen's next.
You got to give him another chance. I mean, look, he had 12 days off, and he wasn't sure. So maybe, pitching on getting back on a regular schedule again might help him. Sometimes too much rest is not good. You can't find the strike zone. That happens a lot. I mean, that kind of happened with Frankie Montas on Sunday. He couldn't find the strike zone. So, I mean, it happens.
But Syndergaard's been hitting. Syndergaard's been hitting out there in Los Angeles. They do that goofy 6-man rotation because they have Ohtani. And so he's got less innings on him than he should, and he still looked washed. And I still love him a billion times more than Bailey Falter.
Well, he's going to
I really think that this team is gearing up.
He's going to battle.
I guess. What does battle mean?
It means that he's going to go out there, okay, even without his best stuff, and he's going to go out there and he's going to be very competitive, and he's going to give you a competitive effort. He's not going to give in, and he's not going to crack. He's not going to get overwhelmed by the pressure, and he'll go out there and he'll battle. He may give up a lot of hits, but he'll keep your team in the game for the most part. We'll see. I'm not as confident about him now after seeing that effort. And I can tell you, as a owner of his on my fantasy team, he hasn't really been all that good. He doesn't strike out anymore, and that's part of the problem now.
Joseph Percassi, Phillies play playoff team after playoff team over the first 90 games of the year. Phillies are finally playing bad teams and taking care of them as they should. Phillies' strength of schedule the rest of the way is favorable. Phillies should stay ahead of Padres, Cards, and Brewers, may even catch the Braves. The Braves got spanked over the weekend. They got absolutely spanked by the New York Mets, 4 out of 5 games. The Mets are flexing right now. No one's catching the Mets in the East. I think the Mets are the best team in baseball right now, as much as it pains me to say. I think the Mets are the absolute best team in baseball. So no one's catching the Mets. Joe's got a point. The schedule's favorable. I don't want to rely on As far as the
the only
Phillies
thing is
schedule
the
goes,
Phillies-
I mean, it looks weak on paper, but games are played on paper.
6 of their next 9 games are against the Mets, though.
That's really the only team on paper that is good that they're going to play is the Mets. They have a bunch of Marlins. They got a bunch of Nationals coming up. Like, they need to take care of business. Don't rest on that strength of schedule, though. You still got to go out there and take care of business.
Yeah, you got to win.
And you play the Mets. So if you do, I think you're 9 games back of the Mets right now. I mean, you got to go 5-1. You got 6 games coming up against the Mets. You probably got to at least go 5-1, if not 6-0, if you want to catch the Mets.
You're not catching.
There's no wiggle room if you want to catch the Mets. I don't think that's happening.
There's no look. They're throwing out Scherzer and DeGrom. You know, every 5 days you have to face them twice. You have to face them. Okay, and based on what DeGrom did yesterday, that really was a scary game to see him pitch like that. 12 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings. I mean, jeez. And the guy missed a year? Are you kidding me? You know, and then you have Scherzer as your second pitcher.
He misses a calendar year, and
he just looks as good as new.
Yeah, absolutely. DeGrom is. I think DeGrom's the best pitcher.
I'll tell you what. In the last 5 years, there hasn't been anybody better than him. I hate to say it, but who's been better than him the last 5 years? Verlander, maybe.
No one. I know we've seen Verlander. He's still doing his thing. He might be the. I know Max has been doing his thing for a while. When I was a kid, Randy Johnson and Pedro, they were doing their thing. I think DeGrom's better than all of them. I really do. I know he's been hurt, and he might not have the accolades that some of those guys do.
He doesn't have the wins.
He's a hell of a pitcher.
Work for him. Yeah. Oh, he's ridiculous. I mean, if you go into a short series, a 3 out of 5 series, and have to face the Mets, you're really going to be up against it. I mean, it's going to be real hard to have to go through those guys and beat. You're going to have to beat those guys, both of them, to win a 5-game series against the Mets. And that I just don't know how you're going to do that. Those guys are just ridiculous, and their bullpen's looking pretty good right now. So, you know, they got a 2-0 lead against Cincinnati, and they're not exactly going to be having that tough a schedule for the rest of the season either. The Mets, they seem to take care of.
I know. I bet the Reds.
I mean, I just can't believe that they won 4 out of 5 against the Braves.
I bet the Reds tonight.
You bet the Reds?
I did. I bet the Reds. Other than have a letdown. I mean, it's first off, I got like plus 300 odds. At 3-1 odds on the bet.
Okay.
And I thought maybe the Mets would be smelling themselves a little bit.
Yeah, they might, but they've been kind of rolling though.
Bassett, he gives up.
Yeah, Bassett isn't exactly.
Bassett gives up a lot of home runs.
Yep, and the Mets just scored again. It's 3-0 now. I mean, Fatso just got an RBI single.
Yeah, Don, I bet the Reds tonight. I did bet the Reds, Don. Put $10 on them to win 36. So they're down 3-0. Vogelbach singles. Mets up 3-0.
Yes, Fatso.
My other bet's not looking half bad so far. Yeah, he's good. He's a good player. No, a lot of their fans are furious up Queens that they didn't do anything at the deadline. Furious.
Who?
But I mean, if you're the best team, you shouldn't force anything.
The Mets did what they had. The Mets didn't need to make a lot of moves.
And then,
what do they have to do?
And then the freaking Cardinals, they blitz your Yankees. The Yankees not helping the Phillies out at all in the wild card race or the Central race. Cardinals are on absolute fire right now. They
pitching this weekend with other than you know what, I can't kill Herman. He pitched pretty well, and Nestor pitched pretty well too. But Montes was terrible yesterday, and the Yankee bullpen has been awful as well. So I don't know. You know, it hasn't been. The Yankees have not played well right now. Their bullpen right now is a complete mess.
Joseph Farowski, good point. Phillies got the Suarez, Nola, and Wheeler scheduled against the Mets this weekend. You need a sweep. If you want to continue to talk about this division and prolong this division talk in the East, you got to win. You need a sweep. You got to make up 3 games. You got your 3 best pitchers on the Mets.
You really think you're going to sweep the Mets? I think it's more like the other way around, to be honest with you.
I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. Mets are pretty good.
The Mets have had Zach Wheeler's number.
You have no choice if you want to.
If you want to win the division, you have to.
Division talk.
Yeah, I would. If I were the Phillies, I wouldn't count on that. If they don't get swept, then I think they're
Brad, it's essential. It's essential to win your division in the new format.
Oh, I agree.
Essential, because then
they're too far behind, and the Mets are loaded with pitching. So I mean, I just don't.
I mean, look, I have seen the Mets collapse. I've seen it from the Mets before. They're not bulletproof. They're playing really well right now.
But they don't have. But they have DeGrom and they have Scherzer, and they never had those 2 guys on the team before. And they're relievers.
No, they got a lot of shiny toys up there in New York. I get it. Stevie went out and gave them a whole plethora of gifts under the tree Christmas morning.
Yes,
I get it.
They did.
But
they did.
They're human.
They did a great. I mean, they did what they had to do to become a winning team. You know, I mean that's they spent their money and they spent it maybe a little recklessly, but they did what they had to do, and they've always had pretty good pitching. But they really I mean, when you go out, you get Carlos Carrasco, and then you get a guy like Scherzer, and you already have DeGrom, and you get Bassett. You know, their pitching is ridiculous, and they still have more than enough offense to win with that pitching staff. You know, and the other thing is they haven't really had any serious injuries, the Mets. They've been a pretty healthy team. That makes a big difference, by the way. So it's very hard. It's very hard to win when you start getting a lot of critical injuries. Just ask the Red Sox. And Ryan Swoop, Buck Showalter is a smart manager. He's very solid. He knows what to do. You know, he's been around long. He's been around a long enough time to be able to outmanage most managers. So, you know, and he's not a complete analytics guy. He manages by feel. He gets it, and he's done a heck of a job. And I got to tell you, it's amazing. Sandy Alderson, who his whole career has been limited by how much money he could spend first by the Wilpons, and before that in Oakland when he was never allowed to spend any money. You know, Uncle Stevie gives him an unlimited, you know, open checkbook. You know, that he's able to go ahead and fill in the spots and get the team where they need to be, and it's going to be tough to beat them. I mean, I think the Dodgers can beat them, but I don't think anybody else. I don't think anybody else stands up in the National League right now against them.
First off, the Dodgers have a ridiculous win-loss record. You realize the Padres, who are a loaded all-star team, about to get Tatis back, they're closer to last place in the NL West than they are first place because the Dodgers are up 15.5 games on everyone out there.
Yep.
It's crazy. They have Freeman, they have Betts, they have Trey Turner.
They have 74.
And
They have 74
Maxwell
wins.
who's heating up. They have Turner who's heating up.
Yeah, I mean, Kershaw is going back on the DL, but they're going to be getting. If they haven't gotten him back yet, they're going to be getting Buehler back soon, right?
He should be back. I don't know. That's like borderline Tommy John surgery he needed there for Walker Buehler, but he should be back.
Yeah, well, I mean, when he
Ron
got hurt,
bringing up how good the Phillies have played the Dodgers this year.
Yeah, but the Dodgers
What was
right
that?
now are
Sorry.
rolling. Yeah, the Dodgers are just rolling right now.
I mean, look at the standings. Standings speak for themselves.
Yes, they
All
do.
right, so we both agree Phillies taking over. The Phillies going to take over, continue to play well against the Marlins. They get the Mets this weekend.
Yeah, I would say, do your job against the Marlins and don't get swept this weekend. That's the key. Don't get swept. You got to at least win one game. The Brewers have gotten all their pitchers back now, so they're going to be playing better. St. Louis is on fire, and St. Louis is starting to take off. So you're gonna be looking at basically they're gonna have to outplay St. Louis, or they're gonna have to outplay Milwaukee, and we'll see what happens.
Well, Milwaukee's in a free fall. I know they got the pitching and the names, but I mean, what kind of message does that send to your locker room when you send the best closer in recent memory, Josh Hader, to a competing team in the National League for just prospects? What does that tell your fans? What does that tell your clubhouse? What does that tell your organization? It tells
really pitch it back.
I mean, Taylor Rogers or Tyler Rogers, whatever the hell that guy's name, and A, was stinking up the joint in San Diego, and 2, even at his best, he's not even close. He's not even qualified to do Josh Hader's laundry. That's a terrible trade by the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, but Hader has not been good this year.
Hader?
Let's be honest. Hader has not been his usual self this year.
I mean, I know what I see. I use the eye test because stats are for losers. And I watched Josh Hader pitch, and he has elite, dominant stuff. And he's by far the number one closer in the game. There's no one else I'd rather in the whole MLB that I'd rather be pitching the ninth inning than Josh Hader. So that's how I evaluate it. It's a stupid trade by the Brewers, and they don't deserve to make the playoffs.
Let's see, Josh Hader.
Who's better than Josh? Who would you rather have on the hill than Josh Hader in the ninth inning?
This year? Well, let me take a look, because I don't think he's having a very good year this year. As a matter of fact, he's not having a very good year.
You pick anybody in the whole MLB.
He is 2-4. His WAR is 0.1, and his ERA is 4.11. He's not having a good year. I mean, that is absolutely what's going on.
He's not having a good year. Who would you rather have on the hill in the ninth inning?
That would be tough for me to say. I mean, listen. This year he has not been the same. But he has not been the same pitcher he's been in the past. He's not even close. His ERA is 1.5 runs a game higher than his career ERA is this year. His ERA is like 2.5, and he's got a 4.11 ERA this year. And right now, the best reliever in baseball this year is unfortunately Diaz on the Mets. If you want me to answer your question, take a look at his numbers this year. He's much the best this year. Now, I'm not saying lifetime. I'm just saying this season.
So you're just going to give up on a guy, proven elite guy.
Well, he's
like
going to
it
listen.
later
When's
'cause
he a
he's having
free
a bad
agent
year.
next year?
You have to it's a stupid trade.
Well, I don't know. I mean, listen. Maybe is he
I
going to
think
be a
so.
free agent next year? Is that the issue for them? Because I mean, there's got to be a reason why they trade. I mean, I know he hasn't had a good year either.
They haven't. They think they have enough with Bosberger.
Well, maybe they do. I mean, they have good.
I just think they think enough with Devin Williams and Bosberger.
I mean, I just want to check out Edwin Diaz's stats this year because he's been a stud so far this season. Okay, Edwin Diaz, his one-loss record this year is 2-1, has a 1.39 ERA, 26 saves, 91 strikeouts in, let's see, now in 91 strikeouts in 45 innings. Wow. I mean, he's been really good this year. He's definitely the best reliever in baseball this year.
Greg Malakovic, he disagrees with the poll sweeping the Nats was huge. Sandy is going to be tough to beat. You got to do it. You want to go to the playoffs, you got to beat Sandy Alcantara. You got to beat good pitchers, especially on bad teams. I would be happy with 2 of 3. You took 4 straight from the Nationals. You have a bunch of games against the Nationals still remaining. If you get 2 out of 3 against the Marlins, that's good. And then if you want to have any chance to win this division still, you got to sweep the Mets this weekend. Tall task, I know, but you got to sweep the Mets this weekend. But worry about Miami first. Win the series against Miami.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I want to get into some big picture baseball stuff. Talk about a little rest of the trades. I thought it'd be fun to do the power rankings. I have my top 10. Brad, I know you have your top 12. Brad, I want to hear your top 12 first. So I guess you just ranked everyone that's in the playoffs right now.
Yes. Right now, I have the Dodgers number 1, Yanks number 2, Mets number 3, Houston number 4, Atlanta number 5, Padres number 6, Blue Jays number 7, Cardinals number 8, Mariners number 9, Phillies number 10, Rays number 11, Twins number 12.
See, I don't think the Rays are going to stay. First off, what were your Yankees doing at the trade deadline? I know you got Montez and Benintendi, and everyone's all excited about that. Why did you trade Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader? Harrison Bader's not even healthy. Jordan Montgomery's a good pitcher.
Cashman's getting killed for that trade. Look, Jordan Montgomery got off to a great start this year. His last few outings have not been good. And he felt, now this is what he's saying, okay, that he's not going to use him in the playoffs. And he didn't want to keep using Aaron Judge in center field, and he wanted to get a center fielder. Now, I don't understand why you get one that's injured, but he's supposed to be back around the first week of September. So that's why they did that. Do I agree with that trade? No, I don't like the trade. I think it's always foolish to trade pitching. And if you're going to trade pitching, you've got to do better than that. I think that the Cardinals pulled one over on the Yankees with that one.
And the Cardinals.
The other trades, Montes will be fine. He had a bad game. He just got back from a funeral. Who the hell knows where his head was at? And he had, again, another one with too much rest and couldn't locate his pitches. And that's it. And he ran into a buzzsaw yesterday, and he got his brains beat in. It's simple.
So back to
the other Yankee pitchers getting them out yesterday either. So I'm not going to completely blame him for what happened.
So back to the Harrison Bader trade. So when Harrison Bader becomes healthy, which looks to be in about early September, which is still kind of a long way off, you're going Benintendi left, Bader center, Judge right, Stanton DH.
Most likely, yes.
Okay, so Matt Carpenter goes to the bench.
Matt Carpenter could end up playing third base. Don't be surprised if that happens.
So Donaldson does. Who's the odd man out then? Donaldson?
I think Donaldson hasn't played well this year. I mean, he's a great fielder, but he hasn't been hitting at all.
And you guys got Rizzo with the back.
Rizzo is going to be okay. He gets back spasms every now and then, and needs 3 or 4 days off. And this is another time where hopefully he's going to be healthy in the playoffs, because as you can see with their bats, they need him. They need to have him, and they need to have Stanton on their team to be a great team. And with if they don't have all their guys in there, their offense isn't the same. Now, as far as the relief pitching goes, I never thought that losing Michael King would have this kind of an effect on the bullpen, but it has. I mean, Boone cannot figure out who he wants to use in the 8th inning. He brings in Clay Holmes half the time now to pitch 2 innings, and then Clay Holmes can't even get through 1 inning, and then he's completely screwed in the 9th inning. And he doesn't know who and what to do right now. He's lost with their bullpen, because everybody right now is very inconsistent. Don't know if they've been overworked or they're all just having a slump at the same time. I think they will get it back together again. They're still in first place by 10 games, and the way Toronto's playing tonight, it looks like it's going to be 10.5, because Baltimore right now is smoking them. So that's looking pretty good for them right now.
How about the Orioles, Brad? 2 games out in the AL wild card.
4 games over 500.
So certainly in play for a playoff spot. But, Brad, they go out and they trade Trey Mancini, and they trade their closer Julio Lopez, who was their only all-star.
I understand Lopez, okay, because they have a guy who can replace him. That guy Batista, who's been nothing short of sensational for them. He's been almost unhittable this season. So I get that, and the Orioles are thinking that they can't win the World Series this year. They're not good enough, and they're thinking that they could very easily re-sign Mancini, but Mancini is their leader. So I don't really understand why they would just let him go like that. They could get into the playoffs, and a young team like that making the playoffs, that would do wonders for that team.
Playoffs is always better than no playoffs. I've said it a million times on these airwaves. I've said it a million times to my buddies. I've said it a million times in Facebook arguments. Playoffs is better than no playoffs. You get a bunch of young pups in the playoffs. A, they might not be scared of the moment and do well. And 2, you're building experience for the future.
You're not talking about a group of old men. If it's an old veteran team, making the playoffs and then getting blasted, it's not even worth it at that point.
Yes, it is, Brad.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's like the Eagles.
You need to measure yourselves against the best, so you know what to do in the offseason.
But you're not. But if you know you're not
to compete for a championship.
But they're not. But we know the Orioles aren't the best. Okay, they're not even close to. They're having a great season. It's a nice story. Okay, but who are they going to beat if they make the playoffs?
I don't know. That's why they play the games. The games aren't played on paper.
Okay, but let's be honest about it. Okay, who would they beat in the playoffs?
But if you're running the Orioles, where's the line in the sand that you draw? What are you going to sell? Oh, well, boo-hoo, we're 2 games out. We should be competing, but we'll never beat the Yankees. So let's just sell our team leader and our four-hitter, Trey Mancini, and let's trade our only all-star to a division rival in the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't get it.
No, they traded Mancini to the Astros.
He went to the Astros, yes.
Right.
Lopez went to the Rays. I think he went to the Rays.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I don't remember where he got. I honestly don't remember where Lopez got traded, but I know he did go to a contender. I just can't remember who it was. I thought it was Seattle, but maybe I'm wrong.
But, I look at Seattle's going to go to the playoffs. Tampa Bay's vulnerable. I mean, Toronto has star power all over the place, but, they're not putting it together. But I guess they'll probably make it. At least there's a spot that's still undetermined for the White Sox, the Guardians, the Orioles to jump in there and make the playoffs and do something with your franchise.
Well,
Especially the Orioles.
The Orioles also have the top minor league system in baseball.
What's that get you?
They have an elite system. What it means is that they got guys ready to come up within the next year, and they're thinking that they're going to be an excellent team starting next year. So and we're seeing a lot of the guys this year. That's their thought. Now you can agree or disagree about it, but I understand they don't want to trade their prospects. I wouldn't have been trading Mancini. I know he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, but I think Mancini would be more than happy to stay in Baltimore, and he might just come back to Baltimore in the offseason. He can still do that.
Brad, if I'm a general manager or an owner and my team's 2 games out of a playoff spot and I have the best farm system in baseball, it's time to maybe do a little something and get guys in here that can help. Spread out a little money and bring in some guys that can help you make the playoffs and make your franchise relevant.
What I would say to you, I'd say to you about the Orioles is look at their catcher, how good he is.
He's awesome.
Okay, that's the first guy coming up. Okay, and supposedly they got guys that are better than him in the farm system right now. So I mean, it's hard for them to want to trade those prospects right now when they feel that they're a year away from being real contenders. And the way they're playing right now, they're really looking good.
And they got this guy Grayson Rodriguez. He's always got arm trouble. He's got a hurt arm now. He's had a hurt arm before. Like, that's a guy I'm dumping. That's a guy I'm straight dumping for a proven guy that can help me right now.
I don't disagree with you, but right now this is what they're doing, and they're ahead 5-1 against Toronto tonight, and they're continuing to put pressure on Toronto. They got to run.
So what do they do? What do they do next year? What do they do next year, Brad? When they got a couple of these kids up, and they're 3 games out of a wild card at the trade deadline, what do you do then? Are you going to sell again and be losers, or are you going to go for it? When do you go for it?
How do you know they're not going to go out this offseason and pick up a couple of?
I hope they do.
I think they might.
Great baseball town. I want to see them good.
Yeah, they're. I think they're probably going to go ahead and do that. Listen. Do I like their trade? No, I don't really think that they should have done that. They have a strength in their bullpen. Their bullpen has been absolutely awesome this year. When they have both Batista and Lopez, and they want Batista to be the closer. So now he's the closer. I mean, that guy Batista, I don't know if you've seen him pitch, but I mean, he throws 100 miles an hour, and he's like 6'6", and he's like he looks like Lee Smith on the mound. If you want a comparison, what this guy looks like, and he throws the ball literally through the wall.
Like, how long can it be your plan? How long can it be your plan just to accumulate prospects and not spend any money when you're in the same position as the Red Sox?
At this point, they've got enough guys to bring up to listen. It kind of worked for the White Sox, but then it's kind of not working for the White Sox because this year they've been awful.
They stink.
Yeah, and you can blame La Russa all you want. La Russa doesn't swing the bats. He doesn't pitch. I mean, listen. The Orioles have been some story, and they don't have a high team batting average, but yet they find a way to score runs, and they have a very good defense. Their center fielder is one of the best defensive players in the game, and he can hit like hell. And that would be Mullins. They're going to be good, and they're going to be getting better and better. And the team that's in trouble in the American League East right now is Boston. Because who knows what they're going to do? They can hit, but they can't pitch. And Sale can't seem to stay healthy. Eovaldi, since he hurt his back, he hasn't been the same. So who knows what's going on with them? I mean, that's a strange team right now, and it's a strange organization. They haven't signed Devers yet, and they haven't signed what's his name? Bogarts. So what are they doing? And they went and they traded they traded what's his name, Hunter Renfroe, in the offseason to the Brewers, and he was really good for them last year. For Jackie Bradley, who can't hit to save his life, and then they end up, DFAing Jackie Bradley in the middle of the season. So you got to wonder what the heck is going on with Chaim Bloom, and what is he doing right now?
Ryan Swoop, Boston never stays terrible for all, and they always bounce back right. After 2017, a very bad year, they won the World Series the next season.
Yeah, but they traded.
I hear you, but I mean, they're saddled with Nasty Late. They are saddled with Chris Sale. I thought the whole point of trading Mookie Betts in his prime, which was still one of the dumbest trades I've ever seen in my life, was so you could lock up Devers and Bogarts, two guys at more premium defensive positions, and they're great Gold Glove candidates every year. And they match the baseball. Now you're not negotiating with them either. I don't know what they're doing.
Very strange.
They don't seem to have a plan. The Boston Red Sox don't seem to have a plan, and that's embarrassing for a big market team like that.
I mean,
it's embarrassing.
On the surface, it looks like they traded Verdugo for Betts. And I mean, listen, is Verdugo a bad player? No, he's a pretty good player. He's okay, but okay for Betts. What kind of stupidity is that?
I don't know what they're doing. All right, I'll go over my power rankings here. I did my top 10. I think the best team in baseball is the New York Mets. I mean, they took 2 or 3 from the Yankees, and they took 4 or 5 from the Braves.
No, they actually swept the Yankees.
So what's that? 3 games? Was it 3 games or 2 games?
2.
So 2 games. So they didn't take 2 or 3. So they swept the Yankees 2 games. Take 4 or 5 from Atlanta. DeGrom is back. Look, they have a starting rotation. This is why they're not going to blow it. And I'm convinced they're not going to blow it. Everyone else in the East is playing for second. I think a third team will get in the East. But DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, Walker. Carrasco. I'm missing someone. Carrasco. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
You don't have losing streaks that are that sustained when you have 5 pitchers like that. It just doesn't happen.
No, and this year you're getting a incredible year out of Edwin Diaz right now.
Really, that whole bullpen.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Sandy Alderson did a hell of a job filtering out the garbage, throwing away the trash and bringing in new guys that really helped the team. He did a really good job. I think he did.
I hate them. I hate their uniforms. I hate their mascots. I hate their fans. I think they're a bunch of
blowhards,
life losers up there in Queens, and I can't stand them. I might hate the Mets more than I hate the Cowboys, to be honest with you. But they're the best team going. I feel I have an obligation to tell people the truth here on A2D Radio, and they're the best team in baseball. I don't even think it's close.
That's your opinion, and you're definitely entitled to it. And
I mean, look at their lineup, Brad. I mean, you got Pete Alonso. He's an MVP candidate. Starling Marte has been a rock star. Jeff McNeil and Brandon Nimmo have been great role players. Lindor bounced back huge. Like, the team has no holes. The team has no holes.
No, they don't.
Number 2, I have the Dodgers. I have the Dodgers number 2. Look, the fact that they're 15 and a half games up on a team that's pretty good in the San Diego Padres, it speaks volumes. Muncy and Turner, especially Muncy starting to hit. Freeman's a beast. Trey Turner's a beast. They have pitching. Kershaw.
Pitching on top of their pitching. I mean, it's unbelievable.
How about Gonsling and Anderson just like going from piggyback 4-inning guys to Cy Young candidates?
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Some teams just get it and do well and make the right decisions, and some teams don't.
Some teams know how to draft and know how to make their develop their young talent. That's basically what it is. That's how they operate. they're able to get to develop their young talent, and they're able to keep their young talent because they've got the money to do that, which is kind of what the Yankees used to do.
Let's see who I got number 3 here. Number 3, I think I had the Astros. Let me pull up my list here. Oh yeah, number 3, I have the Astros. I think they're better than the Yankees.
I totally disagree.
I think the Yankees are.
The Yankees, when they played the Astros, were resting Judge. They were resting Stanton, and the guys that pitched against the Astros aren't even going to be in the playoff roster. So
I think that if the Yankees and the Astros played today, I think the Yankees would be in trouble. I don't like that trade.
Today,
I don't like giving up starting
but
pitchers
by September they'll be fine.
Maybe if we redo this in September, I can only judge what I've seen here through August 8th. Night.
So they have a couple of bad weeks, but for the rest of the season, you're choosing to ignore the rest of the season.
Well, I mean, I have the Yankees 4th. I think the Astros and the Yankees are on a collision course to the ALCS.
Yeah, they are, and I think the Yankees can match pitching with them. They have a very good staff. They'll be fine. I'm not worried about that. The Astros. We know
so who's the Yankees 3? Because the Astros are they're trotting out Verlander. They're trotting out probably Luis Garcia, and they're probably trotting out someone else.
Yeah, for Framber Valdez.
Framber Valdez has been excellent. They have Christian Javier lurking as well. So you go Cole game 1. Who's game 2? Nasty Nectar?
Probably Nasty Nestor. Game 2. Montes game 3 and Severino game 4.
Is Severino going to be back?
He supposedly could have been back now, but the Yankees decided that they didn't want him to pitch too many innings. So they took an injury that he had, and they put him on the 60-day DL, which was quite a.
Why would you trade Montgomery when you have that big question mark? Big question mark with Severino's health.
Well, they don't.
This is the first time with Severino either.
There's two guys they don't want pitching in the playoffs. Okay, Montgomery and Tyone. They decided that those two they did not want pitching in the playoffs. So that's their, and they traded because they expect Severino to be back for the playoffs. He supposedly is going to be back by the middle of September. And right now he's on a throwing program. He's pretty much healthy now, but they just didn't want him to pitch too many innings. Keep in mind, he hasn't pitched in 2 years, 2.5 years. They just didn't want him pitching that many innings, and he hurt he had a lat strain. It supposedly is better now, but they just didn't want to risk him getting further injured and not having him for the playoffs because he's been absolutely outstanding this year. And I think the Yankees starting pitching can match up with anybody with those 4. What I'm more worried about their bullpen getting it together than I am starting pitching. As far as the offense, the last few games they haven't had Stanton since the All-Star break, and they haven't had they didn't have what's his name Rizzo for the entire weekend.
Yeah,
so
Rizzo's got a hurt back.
Yeah, he had a hurt back before, and he came back and he was fine. I think he's got 25, 26 home runs. They missed Stanton.
What's the prognosis on Stanton? The Yankees are going to need all hands on deck. All hands on deck.
Stanton's coming back. Stanton's coming back this weekend against the Red Sox.
Okay.
And we know how he hits.
The Yankees
we know how he hits. We know how he hits in Fenway Park, so it should be fine.
Okay. I mean, look, I have the Astros slightly above the Yankees.
There's one thing you have to remember, okay, is when the Yankees, especially when they go on the road in the National League. Every team that plays them plays like it's the World Series, and the Yankees haven't been bringing their A effort. I think that they could play. I think there's a lot of room for improvement over the last couple of weeks. They're just not playing good baseball.
Well, the Yankees just got waxed by my number 5 team. That's the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, they lost 2 one-run games, and then the last one yesterday, they kind of got screwed with that umpire Wilcox. But look, you can't always blame the umpires. Although that was some of the pitches that he was calling strikes yesterday got Aaron Boone ejected. So that would kind of tell you what the deal was yesterday. Honestly, that guy Wilcox should not be umpiring. He makes Angel Hernandez look like a good umpire, and that's really saying something, because that was awful.
If we look at what the Cardinals are doing, first off, they do
Do you think the Cardinals are going to keep playing like that for the rest of the season?
Through what I've seen, up to today, August 8th, I have the Cardinals ranked number 5 on my rankings. Yes. And I believe in them to keep it up.
I have the Cardinals number 8.
Look, they get Quintana, they get Montgomery at the deadline. That's going to help a lot. They have a bunch of guys that do things the right way. So I guess Carlson will be their center fielder. And by the way, Nolan Arenado he was a National League Player of the Week. He's playing wiffle ball right now. Paul Goldschmidt's been playing wiffle ball.
Nolan Arenado is red hot. He's red hot. But look at the Yankees right now. Aaron Judge is getting pitched around. He's getting walked all the time, and he's not getting pitches to hit because they don't have Rizzo and they don't have Stan. That's simple. You take Arenado and Goldschmidt out of the Cardinals order. What do you think is going to happen? Okay, I mean, Paul DeYoung, who hasn't hit in 2-3 years, comes up and looks like Ty Cobb yesterday.
He's been in the minors for the past month.
He's been terrible for the last 3 years.
This is what the Cardinals do, though.
Well, we'll see if they continue to do that.
I wouldn't want to play the Cardinals at all.
Well, we don't have to play the Cardinals. We're in the American League.
Yeah, but the Phillies might, and they might have to play them 3 games on the road, because I think they're a lock to win the Central. Number 6, I have.
I think the Phillies are going to make the playoffs. I do. They've done enough. They did enough at the trade deadline to cure some of the bad things, and I think Robertson was huge. I think that's the trade that gets them in. Quite honestly, that's the one, because now they've got 2 guys who can close games. If Robertson pitches 2 days in a row, you can let Dominguez close. Is that his name? Sir Anthony Dominguez?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, you can let him close. So I mean that was huge. Now you have a veteran guy who's been through it before, and he's healthy this time. You don't have to worry about him blowing out his arm, because unfortunately his first experience in Philly was a tough one. But you guys didn't get to see the real David Robertson, unfortunately.
No, he pitched 4 games and then had to get Tommy John surgery. It sucked.
Right. Yeah.
He seems to be excited. He seems to be excited about a chance of redemption. Bob Brinkman chiming in. The Phil's bats are alive. They are just poised for a playoff run. When Harper gets back, we are explosive. I mean, that's
playing explosive baseball right now.
You had Harper back into that 3-hole. You already have Gene back. With the new and improved Alec Boehm. This team's going to put up crooked numbers. Number 6, Brad, I have the Braves. They're the champs. They've got really good pitching. They have really good position players. They catch, they run, they do a lot of things really good. Might be disrespectful of me to have the champs at number 6, but I just think
I have them at number 5, so we're pretty close on that one.
I just think the Cardinals, the Yankees, the Astros, the Dodgers, and the Mets are better than the Braves right now. Number 7, I have Seattle. I think they're really good. If anyone's going to ruin the Yankees-Astros party in the ALCS, it's going to be Seattle. I think
they got a nice 1-2 punch. They got a nice 1-2 punch with Castillo and Robbie Ray. That's for sure.
And I think that they have a bunch of chance against a team like the Yankees, because if you get a 7-game series, and you got to go to that pitcher's park, that takes a lot of thunder out of the lineup. Like you're gonna have a better chance to keep the Yankees in the yard.
The Yankees can hit home runs anywhere. Those guys hit home. Those guys don't hit short home runs. Those guys hit bombs. So I'm not worried. They can hit a home run in any yard. That's not the big issue for them. The big issue for them is hitting with runners in scoring position. That's something that they've got to do, and they did not do in St. Louis on Saturday. They did Sunday, but unfortunately, St. Louis did a better job of hitting with runners in scoring position on Sunday. And Paul DeYoung gets a home run, a double, and 5 RBIs, which amazes me because he's not a hitter. But that's what happens sometimes.
Number 8, I have the Padres, which sounds weird.
Well, when they get Tatis back, I mean, they're going to be a different team. I think that's going to complete them. So they're going to be heard from.
I mean, Tatis is looming. I mean, you had a guy like Brandon Drury as well at the trade deadline. I don't even know what position they have him playing, but I'm sure they have him playing somewhere. Obviously.
Well, he can play anywhere.
You got Machado. You got Tatis. Potentially, you have
Soto.
Hader at the back end. And, guys like Mike Clevenger and Blake Snell are starting to pull their weight and pitch well. National playoffs are going to be loaded. Playoffs are going to be loaded.
Yeah, the National League has some good teams in the playoffs this year. No question.
And then I have Toronto. I have Toronto at number 10. And the Phillies number 9. We talked about the Phillies a lot. I love what they did at the deadline.
So you're going to put the Phillies ahead of Toronto when Toronto beat their brains in when they played them. I mean, your logic is the same logic that you use against the Yankees, but then when it's the Phillies, you change it. We saw that matchup. Toronto killed them.
I mean, okay, but I'm looking at this big picture a little bit. I think if they play today, I think the Phillies would win.
The Toronto also plays in baseball's by far best division. I mean
I've looked past that, and I've ranked the teams as individual commodities.
Correct. Toronto has a lot better players than Philadelphia does. They're loaded just as much as Philly at bat, and their pitching is excellent as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be very tough. It would be very tough for you to match up against that team, but you don't have to. They're in the American League and you're in the National League. So I'm just saying, I think the are way better than they are.
I look at them as extremely similar squads, really. And the Phillies have 2 aces. Toronto has 0.
0? Really? Alex Manoah isn't an ace?
He's pretty good. So, yeah, I guess they have 1.
Okay, and what would you call the way Gosman's been pitching this year?
He's okay. I mean,
he's better than okay. He's an outstanding.
I'm supposed to be scared of Kevin Gausman.
Well, they should.
In the playoffs.
You think they're scared of Aaron Nola?
Aaron Nola's better than Kevin Gausman.
What happened when he pitched against Toronto?
I mean, you're going to judge my whole rankings off one game?
Well, you're doing your rankings of the Astros over the Yankees because of a couple of games when the Yankees didn't pitch. Were pitching their 5th and 6th pitchers.
I think Houston. I would favor Houston slightly over the Yankees right now.
Yeah, disagree with that. But okay, that's fine. I'm just saying you're using the same logic, but it doesn't work with the Phillies. So
it's not the same.
I kind of disagree.
The Yankees traded a starting pitcher for a hurt center fielder. That's
yeah, but he's going to be but he'll be healthy for the playoffs, Rob.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he's supposed to be back by.
And are you sure that all your pitchers are going to be healthy for the playoffs? If you're just throwing away a good pitcher like Jordan Montgomery like that?
Jordan Montgomery was not pitching well. Take a look at his last 5 games before he got traded.
I mean, I think that's a huge.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned with Jordan Montgomery, he's probably equal to Domingo Germán, and Domingo Germán in his career has won 18 games. So Jordan Montgomery. I just think they could have gotten more for him. That's the frustrating part about Jordan Montgomery. But when this guy Bader starts playing, I mean, he's considered the best center fielder defensively in the game. So he won a Gold Glove. Matt Carpenter loves him. He said that you put him in center and then Judge and right, and they're defensively they're going to be 100% better.
Trade this to I think the Astros are a little better right now. We could do this again next week, and I'll think the Yankees are a little better. It's razor thin.
Well, let's put it this way. You want to kill the Yankees for some of the games they played. Houston also got swept by the A's.
I'm not killing anybody. I have them ranked as the 4th-ranked team in baseball. How is that killing them?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're saying that they're better than the Yankees. I just totally disagree with that. I think the Yankees are better than the Mets too. The Yankees didn't play the Mets when they had all their players healthy. They're going to be there. These guys do not have season-ending injuries. The hitters, that is. So we'll see. I think they will be a better team when Bader is playing, without a doubt. I mean, Aaron Hicks. We've been through this with Aaron Hicks. He's terrible, and we got to get rid of him. But right now, he's going to play because Bader's hurt. And they've decided they don't want to put Judge in center field because they're afraid that he's going to get tired.
Then you got big series, the Yankees out west playing Seattle.
Yes, 3 games in Seattle. So
Yamison Tyone.
They better not get swept by Seattle.
Yamison Tyone taking on Logan Gilbert.
Well, Logan Gilbert, they hit pretty hard, so that should be okay. But you wonder about Tyone and what he's going to do.
All right, we'll move on to football. We got preseason coming up, full week of preseason. We had the Hall of Fame game between the Raiders and the Jags. But, I mean, Eagles playing on Thursday. They're playing the Jets. We're going to get this thing going here. I think the biggest standout in camp so far for the Eagles is Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell was a rookie last year. He was a third-round pick. He scored 7 touchdowns. He's getting a lot of reps with the first team, and he's getting his T-shirt worn by head coach Nick Sirianni. And I think Kenneth Gainwell might be the back here in Philadelphia at the expense of Miles Sanders, which is fine by me. I don't think Miles Sanders is that good at all. It'll be interesting to see the reps at running back, in Thursday's game against the Jets. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to play much. I think Jalen Hurts needs to play much. Preseason against the Jets, I don't really need to risk Jalen Hurts getting hurt because as much as I hate on him.
Is anybody really going to play, though?
Someone's going to play. They're playing a football game on Thursday.
No. I'm talking about important players, though. You're not going to play your important players in game 1. You're going to play You're going to play your second and third string players and see who fits in on the depth chart.
Well, how would you handle a guy like Jalen Hurts in the preseason? You get 3 preseason games.
I would not play. I would play him maybe 1 or 2 series against the Jets, just to get him out there and get his bearings, and not rest him the entire preseason. I wouldn't be doing that because I think that's a mistake. But I put him out there for a couple of series.
Okay, then what's your progression then? So you get the game 2.
Game 2, maybe the first quarter and maybe their first offensive series in the second quarter.
And then what? Third game's your dress rehearsal?
Third game, play him a half. There's no need to play him a whole game. Okay, he's going to be in shape because their coach is going to keep them in shape. But you want to have them on the field. You want them to develop a little chemistry and a little confidence. Okay, you also need to have him playing with Brown so he gets used to playing with him. There's just little nuances that they're going to need to get him out there for so that he can get used to throwing the ball to some of their guys because they got some new players on offense, and I think that's something they're going to need to do.
By the way, according to reports, like you take these reports with a grain of salt because everyone has their agendas. People post stats. It's ridiculous. It's obnoxious. I hate it. But the talk of camp is the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts chemistry, which there seems to be a lot of good chemistry early on.
That's why you want to have them out playing.
But isn't preseason so how different do you think it is getting game reps in a preseason game versus practice?
Because you're practicing against your own team and nobody's going to take his head off.
True.
And there's no real fear that that they're going to take each other's heads off. At least they shouldn't be. Against another team, it's a little different. There's a little bit more competition, and they're playing. A lot of these guys are playing for their careers in these games. The games to the players who play are important. Okay, they're not important in the standings. They're not important to us, but for some of those players down there, it's important. I do think that you would want to have Brown and Hurts out there playing together just even if it's, as I said, even if it's for one or two series, just to start, just to get out there and get their feet wet, as I said, against a different team. You want to develop the chemistry as much as you can, but you got to develop it in games. Games are a little different than practice. Practice is not that. You can simulate a game somewhat, and you can practice certain packages and everything. I'm not saying I'm not minimizing it, but it's not the same as playing against another team. I mean, that's why a lot of times when these teams have practices, they have joint practices with other teams, so their offense can go against the other team's defense. And that more or less, you know what I'm saying? Because that more or less it makes it a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might get more out of a joint practice than an actual preseason game. The other thing that's jumped out at me with the Philadelphia Eagles is I think this defense is for real. I think this is a top 10 defense in the NFL. You have
they certainly listen as far as the summer is concerned, and as far as getting making acquisitions, they made some real good acquisitions, at least on paper. Now we'll see how it looks when when they're on the field, and we'll see if everybody can stay healthy. But I mean, there's no question. I mean, a guy like Hassan Reddick, he should really, really help that team. I think that's a guy that's going to help the team. And Brown, obviously, you've got two major acquisitions that should really help the team out. So let's see what happens. I think that they can pass the Cowboys this year if their defense plays, the way we all expect them to. They should be able to beat the Cowboys. I mean, the one thing the Cowboys do have that the Eagles don't have is a franchise quarterback. But if the quarterback Hurts improves enough, then the Eagles may have something. But he's going to have to improve a lot to win the division, because the Cowboys are probably they'll find a way to be good at the beginning of the season like they always do, and then at the end of the season they'll give it away somehow. But they're going to be giving you guys a good run for your money. So we'll see what happens. The Giants and the Commanders are not ready to win right now. So those two teams they should both go 4-0 against.
I don't know. I think your Giants are going to surprise some people this year. I'm not saying playoffs.
I'm not optimistic about the Giants at all. So we'll see. I mean, they really weren't able to make a lot of good acquisitions. I mean, Gettleman just totally messed up the team with the salary cap. So we had to take
draft.
Huh?
You had your draft.
Yeah, no, I know we had a good
picks
draft
in the top 10. I mean,
I know we had. Listen, they had a good draft. We know that, but having a good draft is one thing. But you also have to be able to improve your team in the offseason with free agents and being able to replace the guys you get rid of with improvements. And I don't know how much they improve themselves, especially on defense. I'm very concerned about their defense this year.
What's the feeling in New York about Saquon Barkley, Brad?
He's been playing very well in practice, but again, it's practice, and nobody is going to hit him really hard. But he does appear to have, according to what they're saying, which I don't believe a word of it until I see it on the field, he has a lot of his quickness back, and he's a lot healthier now than he's been in a long time. So we will see.
Bob Brinkman, the big news is Davis trucking over the O lineman. Jordan Davis looks spectacular in camp. I absolutely love the draft pick. The guy's absolutely scary. I agree, Bob. I think Jordan Davis, look, you have a front that's going to be Josh Sweat, Reddick, Milton Williams is in the mix there. Hargrave's in the mix there. Fletcher Cox is in the mix there. Brandon Graham's still on the football team. You're like 7-8 deep on the defensive line. You get a third-round linebacker out of Georgia who I think is going to help a lot. And I think James Bradbury and Darius Slay is going to be a really good corner tandem. So, I mean, this team's got a personnel throw a lot of different looks at you.
There's a lot of talent on their defense, for sure.
I absolutely think, like, if this is a top 10 defense and Jalen Hurts is just like above average, I think you win the division. I think the only way you don't win the NFC East if you're the Eagles is if Jalen Hurts goes out there and just absolutely stinks up the joint. And I'm not a Hurts guy, and I don't think he's going to stink up the joint.
That, and if you are unlucky and you have a lot of injuries, I think the only thing that can really stop the Eagles from winning the division, quite honestly, is injuries. You know, if they've been unlucky with injuries for the last 2 years, I think they're due for 1 year without being always injured like they've been lately. I mean, they've been jinxed. Snake bit, whatever word you want to use. They have not had the best of breaks lately. So,
and then, I think once you get there, I think that's when once you get to the playoffs, that is, I think that's when the deficiencies of Jalen Hurts kind of prevent you from advancing. And you're going to have to make a decision on whether you're going to pay Jalen Hurts, move on from Jalen Hurts, or what the heck you're going to do. You do have two first round picks.
They weren't really in a position to draft a quarterback this year. That's the thing. They didn't like any of the quarterbacks that were available. So that's just something that unfortunately happens, So we'll see. Interesting in the Met-Red game. I know that you have
I know I got the Reds.
Well, the Reds right now have the bases loaded and 2 outs, and Aquino is up, and it's 3-1.
Aristides Aquino. So here's my shot. This is my shot right here.
Right here, because obviously the starting pitcher is starting to get a little tired, and we'll see what happens.
He gives up a lot of home runs. He gives out some meatballs too.
Yes, he does. He
gives up meatballs.
He did that. He did that with Oakland too. But this is
Orioles. They're looking okay for me. They're up 5-2.
Yep.
So we get the Reds going here. Big hit from the Reds here.
Well, they just hit a line drive. He just hit a line. Aquino just fouled off a line drive down the right field line. Hit it hard. But this is a key spot in this game for the Reds, for sure. For the Mets, if they get out of this, who knows if Cincinnati's going to get another threat like this again.
All right, Brad, before we get out of here, what's your World Series? Don 19 college football's almost here.
Yes, it is.
He needs Michigan in the playoffs again. Look, Don, no disrespect to your Wolverines, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the Wolverines, but I read on one of the gambling people I follow on Twitter, they laid out, so Alabama and Ohio State are going to be favored in every game. Not only are they going to be favored in every game, they're going to be favored by double digits in every game.
Oh, great.
Which is something that I've never heard of in my life.
Well, I've heard a lot of stuff about the about with college football, how it's gotten boring because it's always the same 2 or 3 teams. So maybe somebody else can get in there and say something.
It was Georgia, Bama. They was favored double digit last year. Yeah, Michigan beat them. Look, that's why they play the games. The games aren't played on paper. The games aren't played by the odds makers or computers or analytics. You got to go out there and line it up and take care of business. But when I hear Darren Rovell, I think it was Darren Rovell who tweeted it, tell me that it looks like Alabama and Ohio State are going to be favored in every game by double digits. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but
no. You're absolutely right. It means that they're stacked.
Scary roster.
I kept hearing Alabama say that last year they were rebuilding. Whatever that means.
They were the SEC champions and the national championship runner-ups.
Right.
They're rebuilding.
They were rebuilding last year.
We'll see if Georgia can.
By the way, a little Brooklyn Nets news, which I'm sure maybe the fans aren't interested in, but this might get your attention. Kevin Durant has now demanded that either he gets traded or Steve Nash gets fired.
Really? Okay.
So he put it that he'll play for Brooklyn, but only if they.
What's their beef with Steve? I mean, Steve Nash was a tremendous point guard. I know that doesn't translate into necessarily being.
I mean, I honestly don't. I don't know what the issue is with Nash, but and Katie, I got to tell you, he's a mutt.
He's a tremendous player, but he's a good ball.
He's. I mean, Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn is bent over backwards to put up with his crap. He's always injured. His first year, he didn't even play, and nobody ever gives him a hard time in Brooklyn. And all he does is bitch. And it's like, and they brought in Kyrie to make him happy. And is it their fault that Kyrie acts like an asshole? And it's like Durant wants to blame Nash for all this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's Nash's fault or not. I don't watch Brooklyn enough to be able to tell you that. If it was the Knicks, I could tell you, but I don't watch the Brooklyn Nets. I watch the New York Knicks, so it's kind of hard to say that whether or not he's a good coach. Those two are always in and out of the damn lineup all the time. So, is it his fault? I don't know.
Yeah, and then they trade for Ben Simmons.
Right.
And, Ben Simmons is in a group chat with all the Brooklyn Nets. So after they lose to Boston in Game 3, they hit him up in group chat, figure out if he's going to come back and play in Game 4. They wanted him to. They wanted to know what he thought about it. He didn't answer, and he left the group message. So I'm sure that doesn't help Kevin Durant's willingness to play in Brooklyn.
He's another goofball. So I don't know what to say about him other than he's.
Well, is Durant going to sit out? What if they don't fire Nash and they don't trade him? Is he going to sit?
Well, they can if he refuses to play, they don't have to pay him. He's in breach of contract.
I get that, but I mean, we saw it in Philadelphia. Ben Simmons was ready to sit out the whole season if he wasn't traded.
Okay, and and then he made up some fake story about him being a psychopath or whatever the hell that was.
And he's milking the mental health card, and he's telling everybody he's got a back injury when he doesn't, because he's a pussy.
Well, he's a mutt. He's also a mutt, so I don't know. I just wanted to mention it because I just got an alert, an ESPN alert on my phone, so I just wanted to relay that information out to you guys so you know what's going on and hear that.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. Tommy Arnone, Ryan Brodo, and DJ Eastwood. They'll be coming up in about an hour here on A2D Radio. We're going to have a full panel back next week. Jimmy and Evan will be back from vacation. Me and Brad will be here. Frank will be behind the scenes. Thank you to everyone who liked, subscribed, and shared the show. Thank you for our great sponsors at All Campus, Specialized Physical Therapy, Manscaped, and ARIA Public Adjusting. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Peace out, everybody.